I'm going to try to combine two things that I really love and make an analogy out of it. Have you ever realized that a sequel is basically the same premise as the original, just with some new characters, a different kind of plot line, and then at the very end, you find out, oh, this person did it instead of that person? Well, that's kind of Georgia every single year underneath Kirby Smart. And once again, here we are talking about them following the same path that they have the last 2 years en route to maybe winning a third national title. If you are new here, welcome into the channel. My name is Cole Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, and I talk college football daily. So if this is the type of content you enjoy, oh, and by the way, we got coaches searches, we got bowl eligibility, we got conference championships coming up, we got the college football playoff, we got no offseason around here. So if you like this type of content, smash that subscribe button down below. Tell me your thoughts on if you think Georgia will win its third national title in consecutive years. Tell your friends, your family, your sister, your brother, your mortal enemies, your best of bros, the frat guy passed out in a drunken Publix parking lot, and your entire church congregation on Sundays about this channel. And as always, let's continue to talk college football. By the way, if you want to give me a follow on social media, it's at Mr. Cole Thompson. My Twitter handle and my YouTube handle are the exact same. So let's continue to talk about Georgia. Georgia won pretty convincingly 38-10 on Saturday in Neyland Stadium, which was really interesting because, you know, Dolly Parton's there, Peyton Manning's there. You thought the Vols would go ahead and ball out for the two most prominent people in the state of Tennessee. Nah, it was Jalen Wright scoring on the opening play, and then it was Georgia, a little bit more. Georgia did this, Georgia did that. Georgia did everything that they wanted, and eventually allowed Tennessee to finally see the light of day with the field goal. That was the game. And here we are once again talking about Georgia and the way that they have planned and the way that they have played that resonates in years past. Georgia is basically a sequel, and this is the end of the trilogy. That is the best way to put this. And my favorite movie of all time is Back to the Future. I love that movie. Whenever it comes on television, I drop everything. I don't do work for most of the day. But if we're being completely honest, Back to the Future and Back to the Future 2 have very similar structures that allow the movie to take its course all the way to the finale. And the same thing can be said about Georgia, where Georgia will find a way to struggle early on in September. They'll have a scare game where you'll sit there and go, oh boy, here's where they come back down to reality. And then comes the Florida game in Jacksonville. And then after that, basically, they are on a warpath to tell everyone to shut the hell up. You doubted us. Guess what? Time to eat crow. And it is gaming. That is Georgia. Lo and behold, what happened? Georgia struggled at times in their opener. Georgia struggled at times against South Carolina. Georgia went down to the wire on the road against Auburn. And then here comes the Florida game, and lo and behold, they have basically pummeled everybody into pieces. That's Georgia. Carson Beck has been phenomenal. Carson Beck did not throw for 300 yards. Damn shame. Damn shame that the kid could not reach 300 yards again this season. But you know, he's thrown for over 50 yards in every single game. All 11 games, he's hit over the 250 marker. He has 5 interceptions on the year. He has a completion percentage that hovers right around 72%. Since the Florida game, he has completed at least 65% of his passes or more. In conference play, he's completed over 66% of his passes. Not to mention, in conference play as well, he only has, I think, 4 interceptions, my apologies. And he has a passer rating in SEC play alone, of 191.2. This was the kid that was supposed to sit behind Stetson Bennett, Heisman Trophy finalist Stetson Bennett, two-time national champion Heisman Trophy finalist Stetson Bennett. And people wondered, why is he not starting? Well, Bennett had the locker room. Bennett also had the trajectory, and he was the hot hand at the time. And you don't usually burn until you start to come back down to earth. And Carson Beck has not come down back to earth. Plain and simple. Ever since that scary moment when he struggled at times in the first half against Auburn, he's not come back down to earth. And what's really interesting is that Mike Bobo has kind of picked things up. Glenn Schumann, Will Muschamp defensively have picked things up. And Georgia, here we go, slowly climbing up the mountaintop because they've already reached Everest twice. They might as well do it a third time because they're bored and they're handling business against better teams. Like, it's really funny that we talk about how they struggled against a team like Auburn, who lost convincingly, got absolutely boat raced and paid $1 million to New Mexico State to be boat raced. And yet here they are going against a Tennessee team that last year played in the Orange Bowl and basically made their offense obsolete. College football for you. There's no other way I can put it. They're able to run the football extremely well. This wasn't their best performance, but you didn't need it to be when you had such great tempo on third down. They have incredible receivers who have a relationship with the offense underneath Mike Bobo. And that's the key important part. They're not five-star talent, but they are five-star culture because Brock Bowers is basically the $1 million man who was built in a lab overnight. And everyone else is just kind of like there. Lab McConkey. Would you ever think about him if you were on a team like, I don't know, Ohio State with Marvin Harrison Jr. there or with, Emeka Ibuka? Would you think about him on Washington? Probably not. Oregon with Troy Franklin, Tez Johnson? Probably not. Would you think about him at North Carolina? Probably not because they have Tez Walker. But there he is making plays. Once again, you have Dominic Lovett, who transferred from Mizzou and has been efficient the last several weeks. Ra Thomas comes up with at least one catch per game, and you know that's going to come. Not to mention, they also have really quality play from other names that aren't really well known. How many of you could say Marcus Rosemary Jick Saint? How many times would you say that? Well, he had 2 touchdowns on the day. And how many of you know Dylan Bell, who not only caught a touchdown pass, but also threw a touchdown pass? And here comes Georgia once again. What's really interesting about Georgia is that not only are they a top 10 scoring offense, but they're a top 10 rushing offense. They're a top 10 passing offense. And they're one of the best teams on third down in the country. Let me just give you a stat. That way you understand how well Georgia's playing right now. Georgia went 9 of 13 on third down. Tennessee went 2 of 11. That's the stat. They had the football. They made the most of their opportunities. They found ways to score. They put themselves in the right situations to where they were always walking away with positive points instead of negativity. And they're on a warpath to Atlanta. I mean, here we go. We're talking about Georgia once again, taking on Nick Saban. And I will admit, Alabama, they're freaking Alabama. And more specifically, this is the new version of Alabama that basically was brought together by Emperor Nick Saban, Palpatine, and put in a little bit of a lab. And now Jalen Milroe is Darth Vader. And here we go on the warpath to potentially see the dark side take over once again. That's what Alabama has done this year. And honestly, Alabama may still not be enough to go beat a team like Georgia. And if Alabama can't do it, I don't know if Ohio State can do it. I don't know if Michigan can do it. I don't know if Oregon can do it. And remember, this is an Oregon team that last year with the same quarterback was shell-shocked in Atlanta to begin the year. And then everything started to click afterwards. I don't know if they have a shot. That's this Georgia team. They're basically a sequel of the last few years. And more importantly, they're a team that's on a tirade to show the world, hey, remember 1930s? Now, of course, you don't. You were all dead or you weren't a thought of your parents' existence yet. We're about ready to join that Minnesota roster that made history. Scooch on over. The present is actually better than the past, and the present is very bright if you live in Athens or you root for the Dogs. Guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.